Are you excited for draft day?
The Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
There it is.
Quarterback.
Well, this video might bring back some bad memories, as today I'm counting down the top 10 NFL draft busts of all time. Hi, my name is Carlo Pastina, and welcome to the Average Sports Guy channel, where I have nothing better to do than talk about sports. With that in mind, please let me know in the comments who is the biggest draft bust of all time. Who are you excited for your team to draft this year? I'm really curious to see what some of your answers are in the comment. Disclaimer, as you can tell by the shirt, I am a huge New York Jets fan. This is why I have gone bald. This is why I suffer from depression and anxiety at times during football season. So just letting you know that this list will contain a lot of New York Jets players. Before I get to my top 10 list, here are some honorable mentions. First is Josh Rosen, picked 10th overall by the Arizona Cardinals in 2018. Next is Charles Rogers, picked number 2 by the Detroit Lions in 2003. Next is a name you probably haven't heard of. It's Heath Shuler, picked 3rd overall in the 1994 draft by the Washington Redskins, known today as the Washington Commanders. My 4th honorable mention is Joey Harrington, drafted 3rd overall by the Lions in 2002.
The New York Jets select tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what the draft's all about.
Now to my top 10 list, and kicking off this list at number 10 is Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, drafted 22nd overall by the Cleveland Browns in the 2014 NFL Draft. Johnny Manziel, known as Johnny Football, is one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, but also one of the most controversial quarterbacks of all time. His attitude, his lack of work ethic, and just his wanting to do drugs on a daily basis is why he's on this list. So he only played 14 games over 2 seasons. He was 2-6 as a starter in just 8 starts. He was charged with domestic assault. And he's also on this list because the Browns could have drafted Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, and Jimmy Garoppolo, who went after Manziel, who went on to have way better careers than Johnny Football. Number 9 is the Boz. Brian Bosworth, drafted 1st overall in the 1987 supplemental draft by the Seattle Seahawks. The Boz only had 4 sacks in 3 seasons. He left Oklahoma after testing positive for steroids, but the Seahawks still took him in the 1987 supplemental draft, and he signed a 10-year, $11 million deal, which made him the highest paid rookie in NFL history at that time. His career was pretty non-existent, as this play right here is what he is most known for, getting run over by Bo Jackson. My first New York Jet on the list, number 8 is Vernon Golston, drafted 6th overall by the New York Jets in the 2008 NFL Draft. Golston basically stole $18 million from the Jets. He did not record a single sack in his entire career. Oh my gosh. Experts did not see Golston as a top 10 pick, but of course Mike Tannenbaum, the famous Jets general manager, he fell in love with Golston's raw ability because he ran a 4.56 40-yard dash, posted 37 reps on the bench press. But as you can tell, with 0 sacks, Golston was not in the NFL for very long and ended up becoming a failure. Number 7 on this list is a receiver who was ultra hyped. I remember loving this guy in college. Now I don't even know what the heck he's up to. Like, is he even in the NFL? It is Kevin White, drafted 7th overall in the 2015 NFL Draft by the Chicago Bears. White was seen as a superstar receiver that the Bears needed to jumpstart their terrible offense, but that just was not the case. In 30 career games, He's had 28 catches and 397 yards. That's less than 1 catch per game. You know what's less than 1 catch per game? 0. Kevin White, number 7 on this list. Number 6 is probably the biggest fantasy football bust of all time. I remember having him on my team and he absolutely sucked. Is Trent Richardson, drafted 3rd overall by the Cleveland Browns in the 2012 NFL Draft. Richardson had a record-breaking season his junior year at Alabama, which earned him the Doak Walker Award. He was a very popular pick by experts to go within the top 5 that year. After an average rookie season, he had 950 yards and 11 touchdowns. He would play only 2 more years and average 3.3 yards per carry. And a running back that misses a hole like this does not deserve to be in the league anymore. Number 5 on this list is probably somebody you have never even heard of. It is Tony Mandarich, drafted 2nd overall by the Green Bay Packers in the 1989 NFL Draft. Sports Illustrated called Mandarich the best offensive lineman prospect of all time. Well, that was wrong, because he only lasted 2 seasons in the NFL, but also another reason why he's on this list. Actually, the main reason why he's on this list is because he was drafted 2nd. Troy Aikman, Hall of Famer, went number 1. Number 3 was Barry Sanders, arguably the greatest running back of all time. Derek Thomas, Hall of Famer, went number 4. And Deion Sanders, probably the greatest football player of all time, went number 5. Good job, Green Bay. Number 4 on this list is star Bengals quarterback Achilles Smith, drafted 3rd overall in the 1999 NFL Draft. The Bengals were certain that Smith was going to be a lifesaver for them. How certain? They turned down an insane offer by the New Orleans Saints. I've never heard an offer like this. They were offered 9 draft picks. 9 draft picks for that number 3 pick. And honestly, the Saints, great job, because you would have been stuck with this guy. Achilles Smith, he only played 4 seasons, and he had 5 touchdowns with 2,212 yards and a completion percentage of 46.6. Yuck. And a whopping record of 3-14. Number 3 on this list. As a Jets fan, this pains me. Take it away.
Jets take their 1st round selection, quarterback, Ken OBrien of California, Davis.
That's right. Number 3 on this list is Ken OBrien, drafted 24th overall in the 1983 NFL Draft by my New York Jets. And I don't have to go on some big giant rant on this one. I don't need to talk about how decent of a quarterback Ken OBrien was, and people will say, oh, he wasn't that bad, right? The fact that the Jets could have drafted one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Dan Marino, but instead drafted Ken OBrien, need I say any more? My top 2 on this list could really be interchangeable, but number 2 for me is JaMarcus Russell, drafted 1st overall in 2007 by the Oakland Raiders. This dude was supposed to be the savior. He could throw a football 60 yards from his knees. He had all the traits to be a great quarterback, well, all the physical traits, but he was lazy. He didn't put in the work. He never showed up early to practice, never did any of those things that you would want from a number 1 overall pick, from a potential star quarterback. So he didn't do those things, and what happened is that during his 3 seasons, he had 4,087 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 45 turnovers. That is pretty god-awful. And what is even worse is that analysts out there were making fun of him like this.
America is the land of second chances, except for when it comes to this dude, Mr. Jabba the Hutt, you fat, slovenly, no good, lazy. Oh, come on.
And the biggest bust of all time is Ryan Leaf, drafted 2nd overall in the 1998 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers. Now, I can go on and on why this pick was so terrible. I mean, the fact that he was drafted number 2 behind Peyton Manning. What a difference of careers. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and Ryan Dogcrap Leaf right below him. And I could also talk about how much trouble he's gotten into with drugs, and that would be kind of a low blow. But I'm talking about his play on the field. His play on the field, he had games like this. Look at this right here. This is him at halftime against the Chiefs. Are you serious? He literally had a season where he went 2 and 15, like 2 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Awful. Just awful. In his career, he would end up with 15 passing touchdowns and 36 interceptions. With numbers like that, he is undoubtedly the biggest NFL draft bust of all time. And that is my list of the top 10 NFL draft busts of all time. Do you agree with my list? Do you think that I left out some guys? Should my order have been different? Please comment below, and I'd love to see your guys' answer. And if you guys want to continue to see content like this, football, baseball, pro wrestling videos, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you get updates on my newest content. And if you haven't already, please check out this video that I made last week of the top 5 MLB postseason moments. And stay tuned for next week, as my next video is about the top 10 WWE Championship title reigns. See y'all next week.